Baseball was a game that you played when you were 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 10 and 15. If you were very talented and very skilled, then you continued to play. You played on the sandlots. You played against more talented players. You maybe played for a school team. I mean, some of the baseball players played for their college teams. They were recognized by scouts. They were asked to play on professional teams. There was a few baseball players from Montgomery County who participated in the Negro Leagues. The first person I want to mention is Mr. Clarence Payne Israel, who played in the Negro Leagues for the Newark Eagles. An incredible ball player, a remarkable human being, lived right here in Rockville. Bill Williams, known as Curly, also played for Newark. Russell Awkward from Sandy Spring played for Newark, also played for the New York Cubans. Mr. Clarence Payne Israel's younger brother, Elbert, who came along after him, actually started in the Negro Leagues but played professionally in the Major League, minor league system. These guys were outstanding baseball players. They were professional baseball players.
My father was the type of player who played to win. And although he was a great guy off of it, he was really not the type of person to be messed with on the field. He was a fighter. By him being such a young guy, and he was short, he was about my height, I guess around 5'8", and he was playing baseball with men, and he said he was out in center field from what I understand. And somebody yelled, "Look at that little half pint out there playing." And that nickname stuck for the rest of his life, and basically shortened by, at the time he died, he was a full pint. They didn't, but the older guys, some that are still living to this day, "Oh, are you half pint, son?" And that's how he was known, as Clarence Payne Israel was his name.
Albert Israel, he grew up in Rockville. He lived up one street from where we live now. In fact, his family did. And they played sandlot ball around Rockville. He played in Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Augusta, Georgia, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It was just a lot of little towns when we lived in Savannah, Georgia, that he went different places to play. He always played shortstop, third base, and he played those parts very good. He did very good, and he never batted under 300.
I got interested in baseball at a very early age. I mean, as a matter of fact, when we were coming through growing up, there wasn't anything else around in the rural area of Montgomery County, Norbeck, Olney, Sandy Spring. There was nothing to do but play baseball. Well, the first professional team I played with was the Indianapolis Clowns, and they were in the Negro American League at the time, which was 1952. I was first signed as a first baseman, but I ended up playing second and utility infield. When the Negro League played in any big town or any town for that matter, the stands are packed, black and white. And the black people came to the ballpark. You think they were going to a dress show? They were all, you know, they think going to a fashion show. I mean, they'd be clean as the Board of Health. I'm serious. And I mean, they would have the best finery on, and the men and the women.
My dad probably could have gone into the minor leagues, but they wanted most of the black major league players to start all over again down in the low minors. And my father didn't want any part of that. And also, by that time, he had 3 sons to raise, and he always told us that he didn't really want to be an absentee dad. So he came home and raised us. When he and Mr. Awkward really stopped playing professional baseball, they managed a local baseball team here. An American Legion Post sponsored the team, Post 151. And when springtime came, it was just like spring training in our house. He pretty much knew where our dad was. He was playing baseball. I'm not quite sure my mom was all that in favor of it. We found out later. But for us as kids, being with him, little guys running through the dirt after the game was over and being bat boys and chasing foul balls, it was just baseball, baseball, baseball.
I'm honored to be talking baseball with Eddie Dove, who played third base for the Scotland Eagles in the 1950s. Mr. Dove, your dad was a ball player for the Scotland ACs back before World War II. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So what did you hear about that? Was he a big ball player?
Yeah, back then, before my time.
Before your time. And so that team stopped playing, I guess, because of the war, and then they came back.
The Second World War, you're correct.
So Scotland didn't have a team until the Eagles started up again in 1951.
No. It was some of the old guys that came back from the service.
Yep.
They started a team again, but I was too young to be on the team then.
Right.
I can't remember what year, but I know I wasn't in high school.
So in 51, they put together a team called the Eagles.
That was the team that I was on.
And that was a young group, right?
Yeah.
So that was some high school guys and some
High school
older guys.
Mostly high school, but some older guys.
Yeah. Well, now you had an opportunity to meet the great Pint Israel. He came to visit you and your Lincoln High teammates. Is that right? Tell us about that.
He would come to our practice sometime.
Wow. Did he pitch batting practice to you?
It's batting practice sometime.
Did he help you? Did he improve your game?
Oh, yeah.
What did you learn from Pint Israel?
I learned how to hit better, but I lost the instructions he gave me. I had that one good year in high school.
So tell us about the Scotland field where you played.
The condition of the field, you wouldn't have believed it. We had down the right field line, before you hit bushes and branches and whatnot, there was a road that cut a part of the right field line off. And back behind the first base line, you had less than 50 feet, and then you had a road, and then on the other side of the road, it was trees and bushes. So all the balls that hit down the first base line that was hit over those bushes was an automatic two-base hit, whether it was on the ground or a fly.
Okay.
It was an automatic two-base hit. Any other part of the field, no matter where it was hit, all you could get on the base path.
Now, somebody told me that the backstop was pretty much just chicken wire, and there were some benches for the players, but not benches for the fans. Is that right?
Correct.
So describe the scene at an Eagles home game. People are walking there, or getting there by car.
By car, some people walking.
What's the scene? How many fans are there on a Sunday afternoon for an Eagles game?
I would say somewhere between 50 and 75 people. You had that many people, you had a good crowd.
Yeah. And some of the teams you played would bring some of their fans, right?
Yeah, they would bring some of theirs.
So pretty much every Sunday afternoon from Memorial Day to Labor Day, you were playing baseball. Have I got that right?
If we had a game scheduled, because we wasn't in the league, we didn't have any game automatic schedule because we was in the league because we wasn't in the league.
Right.
Once in a while, man, a few Sundays, you couldn't get anybody to play you because everybody was booked up. So you always had to make sure that you was at least 2 or 3 weeks home ahead in booking games.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So tell us about some of the best fields in Montgomery County that you played on when the Eagles went on the road.
Johnson Park.
Johnson Park. Tell us about Johnson Park.
Johnson Park was when you played at Johnson Park, you felt like you were playing because it was laid out and designed like a professional field.
So it had a grandstand and
it had a grandstand behind the backstop, covered up, screened in. Woo. Fans couldn't get hit from foul tips.
And so it was a big deal if you had a night game at Johnson's Park.
That is correct. When you played the nights at Johnson Park, you felt like you was a pro.
And the pros came, right? The Eli Giants. Then
they came, yeah. But the team that I played with Scholar, we never played them.
No, I know. But they played there, right?
Yeah, they played there.
Did you ever see them there?
One time when they played the team called the Maryland Wildcats.
Now who won?
The Wildcats, 4-3.
So the Montgomery County team beat the Eli Giants.
That is so true.
You must have been excited.
The American Legion, the 151, the one that Israel played on, they played them quite recent, regular, but I can't tell you anything about their games.
Right. What were some of the other fields that you enjoyed playing on in Montgomery County?
Well, most of you enjoy playing home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm interested in the other fields. Oak Haven, do you remember playing there?
Who?
Oak Haven and Boyd's.
Yeah, that was about other than the home field. That was the most field that I enjoyed playing on.
And why was that?
You had more people, and you would see a lot of people there that you knew from other places would come there. Plus, that was the place that had the dance hall.
You could go dancing after the game?
Some Sundays, especially on Saturdays, if they had a game.
Yeah.
After the game, at nighttime they had a band, and you could have with a dance hall. And not only that, most Sundays when they had a home game there, you could buy a complete dinner.
What would you have for dinner at Oak Haven?
Ham, fried chicken, mostly hot dogs, no hamburgers. People didn't grill hamburgers back in those days.
Right.
And different kind of vegetable greens and whatnot, potato salad.
That was a pretty good night, huh?
That was a pretty good day, yeah. But I never bought a dinner there because most of the time my family was with me when I went there, and we would take our own food.
Right. So, did you ever play at Bailey's in near Norbeck?
Yep.
And that had lights, just
That
like
had
Johnson.
lights.
So you're playing under the lights at Bailey's or Johnson's, and you're a big deal, right?
Yep.
I'm told there was a little community of Gibson Grove and Cabin John. Did you ever play there?
Yeah, we played down there. Their diamond was down off of MacArthur Boulevard. Do you know where the little shopping center?
Yep.
Well, it was down in that section, and it was a place called Rock Spring. And you went up this narrow road and was back in the woods. And after you got back in the woods so far, there was opening, and that was a diamond. That's where they played.
That was the Cubs?
That was the Rock Spring Cubs.
Wow. And did you play Linden in Littonsville?
Yeah, Linden. Mm-hmm.
The Black Sox, I think.
Yeah, Linden Black Sox. We played them over in somewhere off of East West Highway in Linden.
Yeah, it's where I think it's where the elementary school is now. Mount Zion, did you get there?
Mount Zion, 108 on Zion Road.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Rockville, did you play in Rockville at all?
All this time I played in Rockville when I was going to high school.
Okay.
And that was because the school was in Rockville.
Right. Tell me a little more about that Legion team that Mr. Aukert and Mr. Israel were on. How good was that team?
That team in Montgomery County, black teams, that was the best team, period. And there was another team that would give them a good matchup with a team called the Maryland Wildcats. Do you have that down?
I do. I got that one. Now, just as we end here, if you would tell us, why was baseball on Sunday afternoon such a huge deal in the African-American communities of Montgomery County in the 1950s? What was it that made that Sunday afternoon baseball game so special?
Because for most of the people, if you didn't go back to church or go to somebody's house and have dinner in the backyard cookout or something, it wasn't anything to do. Things were mostly segregated, and you couldn't go anywhere other than mingling among yourselves.
So this was what brought the community together across the county, the opportunity to have some good fun.
Had some good fun, and then what made it good one way, because you only had one black high school in Montgomery County.
Right.
Have you ever heard that?
I did. I always wondered. So if Lincoln High was the only, or Carver were the only high school, where did you have to go to play? You had to drive to Baltimore, or?
Well, D.C. and Baltimore and Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
So there was not another high school team in Montgomery County you could play?
No. One time we were scheduled to play a high school, Montgomery Blair High School, all white school.
Whoa.
And did you ever heard of a pitcher called Steve Barber?
Major leaguer.
Major leaguer. The year that we had an expedition game scheduled with Blair High School, all blacks against all white. We didn't know anything about Steve Barber then. But anyway, we never played the game. We knew Steve Barber played with Montgomery Blair. But if we had played that game, if it hadn't been postponed, we maybe would face Steve Barber in that game. I don't know.
Why was it postponed?
Rain. And it never was rescheduled.
No.
Because they wasn't on our regular schedule anyway. This was the expedition.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I did get to see Steve Barber pitch one game in in D.C. once.
Yeah, Griffith Stadium.
No, this was in the Kennedy Field then when I saw him pitch.
Oh yeah, RFK. Yeah, great. Well, thank you for this. I think as a last question, I'd like you to just talk a little more about, just to tell the folks watching just how good these players were. I mean, you saw Pont Israel, you saw Russell Aukert, you saw some great players in these games. How good were they?
They were good, but some of these guys, I've known guys that was good, but they went to the teams, invited them for a tryout, and they got homesick and whatnot. They didn't stay because they were homesick, and the conditions they had to live in while they were with the team.
It was rough on the road for the Negro League teams.
Right, it was.
Yeah, I heard that. So, in a sense, Mr. Aukert and Mr. Israel, they came home and coached others. So it was an advantage to you and others that they didn't stay out on the road, that they came home to Montgomery County and were great role models and players here.
No, I don't know, but when I got to know Russell and Israel, they had finished playing professional baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, any last comments that you have?
No, that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you some more. Thank you.
Anytime, almost. If you call me a couple days before.
I'll do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.